audience that we really need right now. So I'll kind of get us started. Welcome, everyone. So excited that you could join us. My name is Felicia Hawkenstad, and I am the intern at North Country Trail Association that leads the Next Generation Coalition. Definitely has turned into kind of like a passion project of mine, just because I really want to see like more faces like mine and maybe faces that aren't like mine out there on the trail. And then this group is just like a really good way to get new volunteers into, I don't know, just seeing what they can do to help the NCTA and help the trail that if you don't use it, you might use it more now, or if you are already a trail user, it's just nice to give back to something that like personally has given so much to me. So I'm gonna start us off. I can't figure out the presentation with a icebreaker activity. And we're gonna do it popcorn style, so it's less awkward. So I'll start out. And then I'll just call on the next person. And then when the next person goes, they'll pick someone else from the next group, and then we'll kind of go around and introduce ourselves. So you can just say like your name. I should have put this on the slide. Your name, where you're calling in from, and then if you are stranded on an island, what's one item that you would want to make sure that you had with you? So I already introduced myself, but if I was stranded on an island, I guess like foregoing all the things that I would need for survival, I would want like a good book to read to keep myself company. And I will popcorn over to Peyton.
Hi, everyone. I'm Peyton. I am calling in from Madison, Wisconsin, and I definitely need a lot of time to think about this prompt, but first thing that came to mind were my cats who may be joining us on the call. Oh, and then I'm going to popcorn it to Val.
I knew it. I was so unprepared. Hi, everyone. I'm Val Bader. I am the Director of Trail Operations with the North Country Trail Association. I am in Pennsylvania, and I don't know, I can't get past the survival things. You know, I think that I would, you know, survival wise, I would need, you know, something to like a water filter. I would need some way to get fresh water is the first thing that comes to my mind, but also my dog. But don't tell my husband I said that. I think the dog could be really useful. And Sarah, you are at the top of my screen, so I will kick it over to you.
All right. Yeah, the first thing I thought of was definitely a survival thing, like a knife or something. But aside from survival, I'd probably want something like music, whether that be like an instrument or something, just something to like make sound that is different. You know, I'm sure after being in an island, I'd be feeling a little stir crazy. And I'm going to popcorn over to Lauren.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hello, everybody. I'm calling in from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I also tried to answer earlier, but it's 82 degrees and it's supposed to get up to the like high 90s this week. I also, Sarah, would bring something musical related. The first thing that popped into my head was my iPod Shuffle, but I would have a way to charge it with like a solar charger. And I'm gonna popcorn it over to, let's see if I can see other people. How about Connor?
Hi, I'm calling in from Charlevoix, Michigan. And Felicia stole my answer because I was going to say a book as well. But if I had to pick something else, I would say just like a case of kombucha or sparkling water or something else to drink besides like nasty island water. Because I imagine I would get pretty tired of that pretty fast. And I'm gonna popcorn it over to Tessa.
Okay, hi. I'm Tessa and I just got off of work. And I work for the Forest Service, so I like definitely needed to shower. But I'm calling in from Michigan, in the UP, and my one item I would bring, I want to say like it's not the most useful thing, but probably jewelry, probably like a bracelet or my watch. I kind of like feel like I'm not ready or like not prepared, not dressed if I don't have my watch on. And I also like kind of missed the beginning because I was like connected, but then nothing was loading. So I don't know if Madeline has answered yet, but I'll popcorn over.
My name's Madeline. I am from Grand Rapids, Michigan. It is like 91 here right now, and I think it's supposed to just get like hotter this week. And aside from survival, I think I would try to bring a variety of different seeds so that hopefully I could try to grow like some vegetables, because I'm sure I would get tired of whatever things were just growing on the island. Probably wouldn't be a lot of variety. And then is there anyone left? I can't see everyone. Oh, okay, that's how I see everyone else. Then I guess I will pass it on to Nick.
All right, I'm Nick Loazo. I'm the volunteer program manager with the National Park Service and the North Country National Scenic Trail. And I am based out of the trail's headquarters in Lowell, Michigan. And as soon as Felicia asked the question, it was like a no-brainer. I need my chapstick. If I didn't have my chapstick, I think I'd go insane, because if it's not in my pocket for about 5 minutes, I'm like, whoa, my lips are chapped all of a sudden. So yeah, I need quite a bit of chapstick depending how long I'm on the island.
A good one. When I got my braces on, I made sure that I bought like 10 chapsticks, and then I just put them in like various areas that I would need them throughout my day. All right. So there we go. The next topic that we're just going to go through is getting to know the North Country Trail. I put together just some interesting information here, but I also assigned this topic to Val, so I'm going to let her talk.
Awesome. And Felicia, feel free to cut me off if I'm talking too much, or give me some prompts if I'm not talking enough here, because I could talk all day about the North Country Trail. So as you can see on your beautiful slide here, the North Country National Scenic Trail is part of the National Trail System, which is a network of scenic and historic trails across the country. Tens of thousands of miles. I have to look at the exact number of miles in the National Trail System across the country. But that means that the North Country Trail is designated by Congress, and that we work in partnership with the National Park Service. So every one of the National Scenic and Historic Trails has kind of a nonprofit arm and a federal agency arm. And the federal agency varies by trail, and we are lucky enough to be administered by the National Park Service. So we work very closely with their office. And when you're on the North Country Trail, you're in a national park that's as great as Yellowstone or Yosemite or any of those other places. So we are the longest trail in the National Trail System. Right now, we're somewhere just north of 4,800 miles of trail that crosses 8 states from North Dakota to Vermont. and you know, about 1,600 of those miles are road walk, and the remainder is, you know, kind of forested or farmland, or traversing some kind of public or private lands where the North Country Trail has agreement with the landowner to be. We cross about 160 different land managers. You know, so we work with state parks, we work with the National Park Service, we work with forests across the trail. Yeah, and we are a network of local chapters and affiliates. So we have 28 chapters that we work with. You know, you can see a full list on our website. We have 28 local chapters that we work with, and these folks are really kind of the you know, boots on the ground. These are the folks who are in the field, who are doing the day-to-day trail maintenance and construction and meeting with landowners and leading public hikes. Really impressive. We have thousands of volunteers across those 5,000 miles of trail. Also a ton of opportunity to get involved with them at the local level. I think these are the first people that folks are meeting when they hear about or come to the North Country Trail are our local chapters. You know, we'll probably get into it a lot more, but these folks are primarily retired, you know, aging, and we're greatly welcome some new fresh faces on their projects, and would be happy, you know, to train you in anything you're interested in doing. So like I said, they really do everything from building and maintaining trail to, you know, putting on suits and heels and going to advocate for us in Washington, D.C. for, you know, better funding for trails, to, you know, meeting with landowners and hikes. So they kind of do it all. And then as far as our staff, I don't know if that's the next slide or, nope.
I should have done a staff slide, but I did not.
Okay, I will just share with folks then that we do have, our headquarters is in Lowell, Michigan. So as Nick mentioned, the Park Service headquarters for the trail is in Lowell, Michigan. And the NCTA's headquarters is there as well. We used to share, we can't share office space because it's against those federal rules. But we used to be on opposite sides of the wall from one another, and they've now moved, the Park Service has now moved all the way across the street. So Lowell, Michigan is about the halfway point of the trail, so that became a logical headquarters, you know, when the trail was established 40 some years ago. But we also have regional offices across the trail, regional staff across the trail. So like I said, I'm in Western Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, greatest city on the trail. You know, I know Lauren won't disagree with me, but, and I won't hear it if anybody else will. But we have regional trail coordinators, is what we call that position. And I'm looking at our map here, because anytime I talk about the trail, I have to look at the map. We have one who covers the states of New York and Vermont, one who covers Ohio and Pennsylvania, one who covers our largest state of Michigan, and then one who covers Wisconsin, Minnesota, and North Dakota. So those folks, yeah, there they are. Those folks are really kind of that liaison that, you know, bridges the gap between volunteers and Park Service and other agency folks. And they're probably, if you're seeing staff faces on the ground, these are probably the folks who you're seeing. And I'm really excited to get you connected with them, and I'm excited, they're excited to connect with you, you know, on trail construction, maintenance, advocacy, all that other great stuff. So I think that's kind of what I have for intro. Felicia, is there anything else you want from me, or do you want to kick it over to Nick for volunteer or for VIP stuff?
Yeah, that was really good. Nick, are you ready to chat a little bit? So I think probably, I don't know, do we want to do like a show of hands of who is familiar with the volunteer and parks sign up process? It's the way that volunteers submit hours, like volunteer hours through their chapters. Is anybody signed up for that already? It's okay if you're not. yeah, I kind of figured that would be the audience. So, all right, I'll let you take it over.
Alrighty, so just bear with me for a sec. I have multiple screens and sometimes I don't know where things are gonna pop up. And it's been a while since I shared a screen on Zoom. So Felicia, it looks like I cannot share my screen when you're sharing. Oh, there we go. Okay. And I will say I probably won't be able to see the chat as I'm doing this. So if you have questions and whatnot. Okay, let me see. Am I sharing already? No. What do you see?
I can see your screen, but it's like the presenter's version because it has notes on it.
Okay, here we go. Is that better? Yay, Val gave me a thumbs up. Okay. Bear with me. Okay. So as I mentioned, I'm Nick and I'm the volunteer program manager for the North Country National Scenic Trail, the National Park Service side of things. So Val talked about that partnership between NCTA and the NPS. So I'm on the NPS side of things. And this evening, I'm going to talk a little bit about the NPS VIP program, the Volunteer in Parks program, and the sign-up process. If you have any questions, I do ask that you hold those until the end, and we'll give a little time for Q&A. So the Volunteer in Parks program, or the VIP program, which we often call it, authorized by law in 1970, and it allows the National Park Service to engage members of the public directly through volunteer service and provides volunteers with unique opportunities to contribute their enthusiasm and skills. And nearly 300,000 volunteers donate their time in a typical year, and that's about 6.5 million hours of service, and it's valued at about $185 million. So it's a huge workforce and great contributions to the agency. Volunteers serve in nearly every discipline, unit, and career field within the NPS, and it helps us meet our mission. And because the NPS is a congressionally designated administrator of the North Country National Scenic Trail, volunteers who support the trail may sign up under the NPS Volunteer in Parks program. And the Trails VIP program is co-managed by the NPS and the North Country Trail Association. And there are benefits for being an NPS VIP. It's a chance to become part of the trail's history and to support and contribute to the nation's longest national scenic trail, the National Trail System, and the National Park Service as an official NPS VIP. VIPs are also eligible for an America the Beautiful Volunteer Pass after accumulating 250 hours or more, unless they already have an America the Beautiful Senior Access or Military Pass. They also receive recognition items for hours of service, have potential training opportunities such as chainsaw training, and there's an opportunity for skill development, resume building, and hands-on experience. Volunteers and VIPs, we use it interchangeably, are also receive protections regarding injuries, tort claims, and liability. And to receive these benefits, there is a sign-up process to becoming an NPS VIP with the North Country Trail. This sign-up process ensures that each person has made an informed decision about the type of volunteer role that is best suited for them. And this evening, I'm going to go over the 3 steps to becoming an NPS VIP. Step 1 is to review the position descriptions, or PDs, and job hazard analyses, or JHAs, to determine what positions you are interested in and how you would like to contribute to the NCT. And as a Next Gen Coalition member, there may be already kind of set things that you're doing, probably most likely trail support and maybe some maintenance and administrative tasks. But take a look at those PDs and determine what's the best fit for you. All the forms as well as instructions can be found on NCTA's website, and I will drop the link in after I talk. And there are 5 positions: administrative volunteer, Sawyer volunteer, swamper volunteer, trail construction and maintenance volunteer, and trail support volunteer. And on the website, there are links for each position. And when you click on the links, you'll see the associated PDs and JHAs for each of those. They are grouped together. A PD defines the nature of the volunteer position to ensure that you have a clear understanding of your role within the program. It provides a lot of important information, and they're comprehensive, and you don't have to perform every duty that or task that's listed. It is essential to perform only the work that you've been trained to do, can do safely, feel comfortable doing, and agree to do. And to help ensure that you, your interests, and your teammates are protected in the event of an injury, accident, or incident, it is super important that the services you provide are consistent with the type of volunteer work that you elected to perform and what's stated in the PD. I'll give a brief example. So say you elected to do administrative work. That's typically on the computer, at home, at your desk. And then you decide to go off and hop on a riding lawnmower, and then you were to get injured. Well, if that was the case, they may go back and look at your position description, your volunteer service agreement, and be like, wait, that's not the position that this volunteer agreed to do. And you may not be covered in terms of protections and workers' comps and things like that. So it's really important to work within the scope of those position descriptions. In addition to those position descriptions, you're asked to read the JHAs, job hazard analysis, associated with the position or positions you would like to do. And JHAs are written documents that examine the tasks associated with a particular project, then identifies the potential hazards or risks associated with each of these tasks, and then describe what actions and procedures to take to avoid, reduce, or mitigate the potential hazards and risks. It will take a little bit of time to review the JHAs, but it is time well worth it to gain an understanding of what hazards and risks to anticipate and what can be done to ensure safety. Safety is our #1 priority. So once you determine what positions you're interested in, please print or complete the volunteer service agreement. And regardless of how many positions you would like to sign up for, only one agreement is needed. And when you sign an agreement, you are joining thousands of others who contribute to the mission of the National Park Service. Together with the position description, the volunteer service agreement is a formal document that establishes a relationship between the individual volunteer and the NPS, and it defines what the NPS and the VIP, what the NPS is asking the VIP to do, what the VIP agrees to do, and and what the NPS will provide the VIP. And when you send the agreement, you are documenting that you understand the type of work you are volunteering to do, know who is required to do this type of work, and acknowledge that you could do the work safely and agree to the terms and conditions that apply to the service and recognition of an official NPS VIP. It's important to review the document, understand and complete all elements before signing. When you see the form, there's lots of fine print, so it's important to review all aspects. The form is available on NCTA's website, and it's on the same page as the PDs and JHAs, and that's the link that I'll send you shortly, or drop it in the chat. So as you complete the form, please write clearly. It's also a fillable PDF, so you have the option to type in your responses, print it, and then sign it. Because you're part of the Next Gen Coalition, please write at the top of the page, Next Gen as shown. This just allows me to document that you are part of this group. But then in box 2, if you're associated with an NCTA chapter or a trail affiliate, you could write that, or there's a drop-down box to see what options to select. This is helpful within my volunteer database to keep track of who is associated with what group. and it just keeps it nice and organized. So Next Gen is written in the upper corner, and if you're associated with a chapter or affiliate, please put that in box 2. And if you're not, there is a none or at-large member option there as well. And I'm going to go highlight a few of the boxes on the form, starting with box 26. And there's a couple of pink highlights there. On the left is a column where you check the appropriate boxes to acknowledge that you read and received a copy of the PDs for the positions for which you like to serve. And then on the column on the right is where you check the appropriate boxes to acknowledge that you have reviewed the JHAs and understand the hazards and precautionary actions associated with the positions for which you would like to serve. Please read all the JHAs associated with each position as it's stated in the PD, and some positions have more than one. The documents are grouped together by position on NCTA's website, as I mentioned before. I hope you know which boxes to check. It's also important to read the fine text in box 35 and then check the small boxes. As you can see, boxes that are highlighted are those that need to be completed. So that should help you out going through the process as well. And then box 36 is where you sign the agreement and you date it. And I looked into it, and unfortunately only hand-signed ink signatures will be accepted. So if you have Adobe or anything like that, please print it out first, and then a wet signature is what I'll be looking for. As long as you continue to report your volunteer hours on a regular basis, at least once a year at a minimum, you only need to update your volunteer service agreement when there's a change in personal information. So say you moved, or you got a new email address, or a new emergency contact, or if you wish to make any changes to the volunteer positions you would like to perform. So say, for example, you started off doing trail support, walking the trail, helping with blazing, a little bit of lopping, and then you're like, wow, that chapter over there, that section of trail is going to be building a bridge. That sounds fun and exciting. Then it's important to sign a new agreement stating that you're interested in trail construction and maintenance. A few sections on the agreement are often overlooked. So attached to each file is an instruction sheet to help walk you through the completion process. As you can see, there's many boxes and lots of fine print, and it's not important to miss any steps. And if you have any questions as you're going along, please give me a call or send me an email. I'm happy to walk you through the process. Next, send the volunteer service agreement to me. And you have several options. You can mail it, which is my preference. You could fax it. And I will say sometimes the fax doesn't come through great. So I may even ask you to like, hey, can you drop it in the mail? And you're welcome to email it if it's encrypted due to the personal identifiable information that's on the form. I have learned that Gmail's encryption doesn't allow me to print out the document. So if you send it to me through Gmail and you encrypt it, I'm able to view it and let you know if it's complete. But unfortunately, I haven't figured out a way to print it. And I don't think there's a way for me to print it either. But if you know, let me know. And when I receive your agreement, I will let you know via email. And again, please write clearly if you are handwriting everything in so I could see your information and update our database. I want to touch very briefly on reporting volunteer hours, as an NPS VIP hours should be reported to NCTA via their website. And this is what the web page looks like. I will also drop the link in chat after I finish talking. And it's just super important to report your hours. Not only does reporting your volunteer hours help keep your volunteer service agreement active and earn recognition items, but it also helps us receive funding and keep the volunteer program running. I mentioned safety earlier and it being our number one priority. So I just wanted to touch upon this. And as a volunteer, it's also important to report injuries and near misses. And the image here is a photo of injury reporting kits. And I'm happy to send these out to y'all when you're out working in the field. It kind of goes through the steps of what to do in case of emergency. There is a bit of a time constraint by the time that someone is injured and by the time we need to process all the paperwork. So it is important to have it on hand and to be aware of it and review it so you know what to do in case of injury. A near miss is an unplanned event that did not result in an injury, illness, or any damage, but it had the potential to do so. It's something that makes you say, wow, that was close, or that could have been really, really bad. And reporting near misses is vitally important to prevent serious, fatal, or catastrophic injuries, because by capturing data, trends can be identified, lessons can be learned, and safety systems can be improved. And by reporting near misses, you're not going to get yelled at, you're not going to get in trouble. We just want to document those to help improve our safety culture. So I remember a few years ago in the Park Service, I reported a near miss, and it could have saved someone's life down the road. I don't know, but it's important to report those as well. Another thing to report in here is tick bites. If it actually bit, there has been an increase in tick bites across the National Park Service, which later led to Lyme disease or whatnot. And it's important to document that at the time, because if it's not, it doesn't do much good down the road if you become sick from that tick bite. So that's just very, very brief about injury reporting kits and reporting near misses as well as injuries. And oops, a daisy. Here's my contact information. I greatly appreciate your time this evening and thank you for joining our team, and feel free to ask me any questions. And I'm gonna stop sharing so I could drop some things in chat. Maybe. I don't know. Stop sharing. There we go.
I'm also going to send a follow-up email out with the same information, and I created a contact information spreadsheet. I included your contact information in that. We have like a shared drive for NextGen, so that'll be available after the call as well. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, so now we can talk about, I guess, the thing that you guys are all here for, the Next Generation Coalition. So a little bit of background on the coalition. It was started, I believe, in 2018. It was really more of like a loose community that you could be involved with. So when I joined NextGen, I filled out a form on the NCTA's website, and then I would get like emails and communications from time to time when things were going on. And then like you could join, and it was kind of just like a community, but it didn't have like, we didn't have, I guess, like set expectations or like a certain like time length of the program or anything like that until last year. So last year in 2021, we welcomed our first official cohort. So those individuals aren't on the call right now. We're still kind of working out like how we're going to communicate with both cohorts while they're still involved, I guess, through the NextGen program. But I think it would be good to do kind of just like a social call where everybody is on at once. That might be one of our monthly workshops, which is going to be something that I talk about later. So the Next Generation Coalition was a program that is designed to increase youth engagement across the trail. So a lot of our chapters right now are struggling with like getting younger and I guess like just generally getting more volunteers on trail to help. And so this program is a good, I guess, gateway to where you can learn like certain skills and then show up, I guess, for a chapter and then like maybe bring your friends along. And I don't know, it's kind of just like a community where we can all come together and maybe talk about our struggles and also talk about the things that we've accomplished while we're working together. So I guess like it has really been a great resource for myself. So I'm hoping that it'll be the same for you as well. So the Next Generation Coalition, again, is a program aimed at increasing youth engagement through networking and mentorship opportunities. So we're going to provide you training related to our 4 pillars, which is trail building and maintenance, marketing and outreach, advocacy, and mentorship is the newest one. It's not listed on the slide, but it's something that we're starting to put together. So that is that. And the photo on the slide is actually from it will be our 2nd annual in-person summit that just happened last May. And I think there was 5 Next Gen members that were able to join together in Minnesota to work on a trail project with one of our regional trail coordinators. So it was a really exciting thing, something to look forward to in the next year. So I'm going to go over just a few things that you can expect from the NCTA, and then I guess what the NCTA will expect from you guys while you're volunteering and participating in the program. So again, I mentioned that there are 4 pillars, so trail building and maintenance. Our goal around educating you guys on that is to create a safe environment where you can learn about these things without, how do I say this? I guess like trail building and maintenance can be very intimidating if you don't already have like an in that environment. And so we're hoping to create an environment where you feel comfortable coming in and then learning these skills and then taking them out on the trail. Our 2nd pillar is marketing and outreach. So organizing events that are welcoming to young and diverse populations, improving public information, and building partnerships within the community. So social media is just like a huge outreach tool. And so we have our own Next Gen account on Instagram. And then there's just like lots of different ways where we can utilize Next Gen experiences and share them with the North Country Trail community. Another of our pillars is advocacy. So that is elevating the voices of young volunteers through advocacy work. One example of that is that each year the NCTA offers Next Gen involvement in an event called Hike the Hill. And we'll kind of touch on that a little bit later, but just generally it's like ideally we would go to Washington, DC in person and then touch base with some of the local elected officials and then talk about like, I guess, why the trail is important and why we need resources to finish it. And then the last piece is mentorship. So this is a newer one, but the Next Generation Coalition is kind of just like a natural pathway to mentorship. But we're hoping to connect you with an NCTA staff or I guess like a chapter leader or something along those lines so that you can, I guess, build a relationship and also just take advantage of the opportunity to soak in as much as you can while you're volunteering in the program. So throughout the program, Coalition members will build relationships with NCTA staff, partners, local chapters, and peers through training opportunities to develop skills and confidence needed to volunteer along the NCT. So one of the main goals too is just to complete 100 total volunteer hours while you're participating in the program. And that of course does not always have to mean trail maintenance or building, because that's 100 hours of that is possible, but it's not possible for everyone. So that could be like contributing content for NCTA fundraising appeals, which we'll kind of dive into a little bit when Kate joins us on the call. Participating in monthly educational workshops. So that's something that we're going to be providing to you, is a monthly workshop where we come together and then I'm seeking out individuals like leaders in the outdoor industry and also like within the NCTA leadership to do just like a short presentation about what they do in the outdoor industry and what kinds of opportunities are available. So we've had a lot of success with that. Okay, I see that Kate is on. We've had a lot of success with that with their last group, and I'm excited to bring some more on. And it's just a great way for you guys to network with people in the outdoor industry if you're interested in making that like your job. That's kind of how it's worked out for me. Or if you're just interested in connecting with other people throughout the outdoor industry. That can also be, it doesn't have to be any of that either. It can be like leading group hikes or doing administrative work for a chapter. A lot of my time has been administrative stuff as far as volunteer hours go. Does anybody have any questions about the 4 pillars? That is a-okay. So next, we'll have just like a little short, like, I guess not really presentation, but information regarding like trail building and maintenance, and maybe a little bit more information on the RTCs from Val. Does that sound okay? Okay.
Awesome. Do you have a slide that goes, yeah, so here are regional trail coordinators. I already talked a little bit about them. They're great. Let's connect you with them. I don't have much more to say, on those folks.
Yeah, maybe like explaining a little bit about what they do.
Sure, I could absolutely do that. So, really, like I said, these folks are the ones who are, kind of that bridge between the National Park Service, our other land managers, and our volunteers and our headquarters staff. So they're really kind of the, Swiss Army knife of the North Country Trail Association. They do all of the things. We just hired Tom and Stephanie, are our newest regional trail coordinators. We hired them about 2 years ago. And, I remember during the interviews for their job, somebody asked me, what does a typical day look like for a regional trail coordinator? And I don't think there's an answer to that, because on any given day, it could be something, very different. They do a little bit of what we call trail protection work. So getting easements and access agreements to, put the trail across private land or swaths of public land. They go out on volunteer projects and, Matt, I'm looking at their photos now. Matt just got back from a trip to the Boundary Waters where they were cutting out a bunch of trees that came down in a tornado, and he's on his way to North Dakota to help with some mowing. So they're out in the trail helping volunteers with those projects. They work with youth corps organizations. So some people might be familiar with like Student Conservation Association or WISCOR or Conservation Corps of Minnesota and Iowa, or there's a number that we work with across the trail, but our regional trail coordinators work with those folks. They do advocacy work, so when we're calling, members of Congress and asking them to support initiatives we have on the trail, our regional trail coordinators are, helping with that. They provide training, so in everything from, training about if you want to adopt a section of trail, what those roles and responsibilities might look like, to trainings on building bridges or rock walls or things like that. Really all of the things. Yeah, and most of these folks, I think people they get a lot of, your job's really cool. How did you get this job? A lot of them did come through some of those youth corps programs that I mentioned. Kenny and Matt both worked for federal agencies before, so they had seasonal jobs with Forest Service before coming on to our staff. Stephanie came from a park ranger position, so really kind of across the board. But if those are things you're interested in, and you're interested in this as a, career, I think that's where we want to get into that mentor piece and, connect you specifically with some of these folks. So. Tessa, I saw you had a question, or I don't know if you just hit that or if I answered it.
Well, so this is their full-time job then.
Yes.
Maybe this is a question for like some of them in particular, but do you know or like could speak to like what made them choose to like join or like take this job versus like a federal job or like a job with an agency?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they would all give you a very like nuanced answer. And like I said, Matt and Kenny both did come from agency jobs. I can kind of speak to, my role and why I chose those things and, what I think of some of theirs. But, I have spent my career working in trail stuff, in trail construction, maintenance, and administration. I didn't take a federal agency job because I didn't want to wear the funny pants. For one, I think the uniforms are horrible. No offense. But
yeah, we call them pickle suits.
Yeah, yeah. The lady pants especially are like the worst. I'm like, can we go back to like, you see those like displays that are like, agency uniforms throughout time. I'm like, we could go back to like that long skirt, maybe I'd be in, but no, and I think, for me, it was the opportunity to have a little bit more freedom in programming and, ability to be kind of hands-on with volunteers and really set the direction kind of day to day of what I was doing. My husband works for local government doing trails and park maintenance, and I see some of the bureaucratic hoops he has to jump through, and I'm just like, oh, I'm not cut out for that. And he loves that structure. He loves that structure to his job and knowing what he's going to do every day and knowing that there are rules and boundaries and neat boxes that everything fit into. I like the creativity of being able to do it with a nonprofit. I've heard the same thing from Matt and Kenny, like that's kind of why they made the jump. I really like working closely with volunteers. And I think that, the public-private partnership of the National Trail System is really unique, like the cooperative management where we kind of get to work hand in hand with federal agencies. But we get to do a lot of the grant writing and the advocacy work that, maybe they can't exactly do. And it's just tough to get in a full-time year-round job with federal agencies without bouncing around a lot. So, this was some stability. So I don't know if that helps or if it's a bunch of nonsense, but I definitely encourage you to ask these folks too, because they might have a good, and better answer, but mostly the pants.
Thank you.
For sure. And then Felicia, did you have another slide that was about trail building, or you want me to just talk a little bit about trail building and maintenance?
I did have like one for each individual thing, and it just started to get to be too much. So if you just want to go over like just generally.
Yep, for sure. So we can do a workshop very specific to, sort of the nuts and bolts of trail building and maintenance. But essentially, we're managing this very unique resource. It's it's in the national park system. But it's very different than what we call like a square park. It's this linear resource. It's we're managing this corridor that's maybe 10 feet wide in places or 100-foot wide in places. And the trail itself is, 3 feet wide. So it's this very unique resource that we're managing across the trail. Essentially what we're doing in trail building is, creating a pathway, and we want to keep, I tell everyone, the first thing you need to know about building trail is that you want to keep people on the trail and keep water off the trail. And everything that, trail building comes back to those two things. So we're managing the flow of people and the flow of water. So we can get into more detail about what goes into it, but, this is an activity that all of our chapters are doing. Every single one of our chapters does some form of trail construction. Like I said, there's about 1,600 miles of the North Country Trail that we're trying to move off a road to a more permanently protected location. So every day we're building new trail. The less sexy part, the part that like doesn't get people as excited, everyone wants to come out and build a new bridge or a really cool new rock structure. The maintenance is where we really need the most hands on the trail. It takes a lot of people to upkeep 5,000 miles of trail. So that's really people going out every spring and cutting any trees that have fallen off of the trail, clearing back the trail corridors, the stuff that's growing into the pathway, helping manage the effects of erosion or use on the trail, keeping structures on the trail kind of up to date. So that's really the bulk of like day to day what we're doing. Not everything gets to be a big cool bridge, that we're building, but a lot of it is just keeping the trail, so that people can use it. Through COVID, we had record numbers of people on all parts of the trail. So, keeping it open and accessible for folks. And I'm sure we did a workshop last year for the cohort on some trail building stuff, and I'm sure we'll do it again this year. And I'm seeing all kinds of comments that the pants are not not that bad. So maybe I need to rethink my decision, but I like my creative freedom on the nonprofit side of things. So I'll let you all give me a fashion show of the pants maybe on a future next gen call. But yeah, hopefully that helps. And I'm happy to get into the details really more as we go along, about trail building, but that's just kind of what we do in terms of trail building.
Perfect. So Kate is on the call. She's not able to do video, so it's just going to be over the phone. But I'm going to let her just do kind of a little spiel about how Next Gen members can become involved in marketing and outreach while they're participating in the program. So you can take it away.
Thank you, Felicia. Hey, everybody. I'm sorry I'm not on the call. I also, if you hear random sound, my 2-year-old sitting next to me eating salad very loudly, so apologies for that. But yeah, I am the marketing and communications coordinator. I have been with the NCTA for about 4 years now, and I've worked in a number of settings as well, including other nonprofit, as well as state government. I did an AmeriCorps Vista stint for a while out in Colorado, and so I've been all over the spectrum, and do say I agree with Val in that the creative freedom that we have with a smaller nonprofit is pretty hard to beat. Really have been enjoying my time here and watching really every aspect of the association grow. And so my role, I manage the website, I manage our social media channels, I manage all of our email communications. That doesn't mean I'm the one that creates the content for everything. I definitely look to every corner of the association and beyond for content, but I'm just the one that schedules it and gets it out there and maybe makes it look nice. But yeah, so that's something huge that you can help with, is getting content out there, whether it's about Next Gen directly, or it's about partnerships that we are seeking or developing, or that we need to celebrate, whether that's with affiliate organizations or random work days that we have with a local organization too. That no partnership is too small to celebrate. Anytime you're doing trail work, trail maintenance, you're participating in group hikes, if you're leading a group hike, participating in events, literally anything that you do that is involved with the association, feel free to tell me about it. Photos and videos are always welcome. Anytime that we can get new perspectives and new voices out there is really, really awesome. So those are the main things I look for. And it's not just on our social media feeds. I mean, you're welcome to tag us and things like that. You're welcome to, share anything that we post. But beyond that, we have our North Star magazine, which is our quarterly membership magazine. Every spring, summer, fall, and winter, we push out a magazine that's anywhere from 28 to 40 plus pages. And we try to get a variety of content in there, from trail use to trail work to partnership to volunteer spotlights to donor spotlights. We try to highlight next gen and Jedi efforts. Excuse me, I know Felicia's talked a bit about Jedi, probably to some of you, but it's justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. We do a grant program for that to get more people on the trail and different kinds of people on the trail. So yeah, just a wide variety of topics that we try to cover, and that goes out to all of our membership. We also have, we do have a YouTube channel. It's nothing that we really try to maintain with fresh, fun content, but at the same time, that is a venue that we can use for video and for easily producing URLs for those videos and to share them. We also have a wide variety of email communications. We have our monthly Blue Blaze bulletin that goes out to pretty much anyone. It goes out to all of our members, and there's a sign up online. You don't have to be a member. There's a sign up on the website on the main page that if you just are curious about the association and the trail, you can sign up to receive that. I want to say that goes out to over 10,000 people a month. We also have chapter communications, like a chapter leadership email that Val manages that goes out. There are donor communications that we have that go out maybe quarterly, sometimes a little more often. As you've probably seen, Felicia manages next gen emails. So there's ones that go to Hike 100 participants. There's just an absolute ton. And so if you have a message to get out, we've got a lot of places that we can put it out there, and in a variety of mediums too. So that's something I really hope to get new voices, new stories, and out there in any way that I can. So please, please, please come to me anytime you even have an idea. Even if you don't think you have enough content, I'm sure we can create a story out of it. So don't hesitate to reach out to me for that. And you can also reach out through the North Star email if you don't want to do it directly to me. If you have friends or family that have any ideas that you would like to send our way, that's welcome too. So we're very grassroots when it comes to our communications. So you don't have to be a member, you don't have to be a volunteer in order to get the message out through us. So that's kind of the overview of that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'll take any questions now if you have them. I just don't want to talk your ears off about what I do.
You all are excellent at, I will just chime in and say that, a lot of our chapters, we've mentioned it a couple of times, are, aging. I had a chapter tell me the other day that one of our more technologically challenged, staff people was a technology whiz. So I will give you a heads up that you will get pulled into, some of this stuff at the chapter level as you engage with folks, and, feel free to put boundaries around that or manage that however you want, but also know that they love the story. So I think Kate said it, but like no story or no photo, is too small to share in some way. They love seeing, our chapters love seeing a variety of faces on the trail. And, I know a lot of you all included your social media handles in, your applications, and Felicia went through and said, I'm following all these people. They all have great photos. So, please share those things. I think they count for a lot for people.
I do have one question.
And Val, absolutely. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I feel like maybe I think I'm remembering correctly on the list of requirements for being a part of this program. One of them was writing a piece for the magazine at some point. Is that still a requirement, like that each of us is expected to do at some point?
That's the best question for Felicia, but from my standpoint, I would love that. And again, the North Star doesn't have any like intense standards as far as word count or anything like that. We've done a lot of graphic based articles. We can do like photo essays with just some really nice captions. So you can get more creative than that. I don't want anyone to feel that they're boxed in with, you have to write a 500-word article and it has to meet these criteria. If writing's your thing, by all means, we will make the space for you too. But I would love to see content rolling in on a regular basis from this corner of the NCTA. I think it would be really wonderful to feature at least one thing in each North Star. But like I said, if not everything fits in the North Star, because again, that is quarterly. So I know that's a little bit restrictive timeline wise. But if it's not going to fit in there, we will feature it elsewhere. So, but as much as I can get in there, I will, because as Val said, they love to see stories out there, and the more we can represent every corner of the trail, and this, you guys are stewarding, the next generation of the trail maintainers, of the trail builders, and so that just speaks to our membership that their dollars are at work doing good. There's progress that's being made. So it's also feel less pressure about the actual content sometimes, and more just that your voice is getting out there and you are participating. That alone speaks so much.
Yeah, those expectations that we listed out on the website, those are actually fairly new too. So those are fluid. We want you to contribute any way that you can, but we also don't want to overwhelm you, because this is totally a volunteer program. So we'll work with you, and we're just hoping that the program will be able to engage with you throughout the program. So.
Right, and I guess the one point I wanted to make, what Val was saying too, she's absolutely right in that I understand, I'm an elder millennial myself. I am often looked at as, everything about computers and social media, the TikTok, and so I get roped into a lot of that myself, but I'm kind of paid to do that. And so as a volunteer, boundaries are super important that way. So do what you're comfortable with, but if there's something that you feel you're getting a little extra pressured to do, you don't have the capacity, you don't want to, when it comes to, setting up a MailChimp account or anything that could be roped into that like technical world, feel free to reach out to me too. And again, that's part of my job, to walk through some of that with chapters, and the job of the NCTA is to provide chapters with resources. So even if I can't provide something for them immediately, that's also really telling that we need to start developing resources as staff. So again, do whatever you're most comfortable with, but in lieu of leaving anyone hanging saying, that's not really for me, go ahead and send them my way, and we'll see what we can do.
All right, any other questions for Kate?
I would just say that we're not kicking anybody out for not writing an article.
Right.
I drag my feet every time it's my turn to write an article. So,
you guys might not want to kick anyone out, but I'm just kidding.
You got to be on video to kick people out, Kate. Sorry.
Man, fair.
All right. So I'm probably going to take over then for the rest of the session. Kate, you don't have to hang around. But if you want to, you're more than welcome to. So,
well, thank you, everybody. I'm really excited to have you on. And again, if I just threw a bunch at you and you feel confused with anything, let me know. But I'm sure Felicia's got all kinds of awesome resources so that you can follow up with when it comes to media setup and all that stuff. But I'm happy to take calls or emails anytime on that. So appreciate you guys really being here. We're super excited about it.
Thank you, Kate. All right, so I'm gonna take over. Nick already kind of went over how volunteer hours are counted and reported, and I sort of went off on a tangent on what types of volunteer, what types of volunteer activities are counted. So Some of that is still listed out on the slide, and I think I'll maybe send out a PDF of the slides to you guys so that you can go back to it if you want to. But I'm going to skip past this one. So I'm going to go over just a few more things, and then we'll do like a wrap up and a Q&A. So just in case you have questions. So this slide here is just highlighting our monthly workshops. So I will have monthly communication with you guys. I do have like a MailChimp account, and I send out pretty emails through that just with updates, upcoming events, information that might be helpful to you guys, and then usually a recording of the previous month's workshop, and then information on the next month's workshop. So in this photo on here, we had the privilege of speaking with the founder for the 11th Essential. So I know her because she's kind of a friend, but Brittany created the 11th Essential and educates people on leave no trace, and just like encourages you to bring a garbage bag along when you hike so you can pick up trash along the trail. So it's just like leaders along the trail like that I'd like to invite in. We had an REI employee pop in, one of our RTCs, the regional trail coordinators, popped in and did a little presentation on their experience, past experience in working on the trail and whatnot. So just kind of keep an eye out. It would be awesome if you guys could join us for these monthly workshops, mostly because we're putting in the work to bring someone to present to you. What'll happen with the monthly workshops is I'll send out a doodle poll so we can find a date that works the best for everyone. With a smaller group, I think that's going to be a lot easier. We had like double the amount of people with the last group, and it was definitely a challenge. So I'll just communicate to you guys when I need a date that works, and then I'll send information out to you once I have like a date picked and a topic, and then hopefully we can all just get together and talk about our love for the trail, and also network with you know, leaders along the outdoor industry. Another way that we can stay connected while you're a program participant is the annual summit. I did mention that a little bit earlier. So the annual summit is going to be a gathering for coalition members. And I think as the like the cohort system progresses, it'll also be a way for people who have participated in the program in the past to come back and socialize and network with members that are just like joining. So that'll be an event where we all meet in one location. So we have 8 different trail states to pick from. Last year, I did a poll to see where people were interested in going, what month worked best for them, and then I kind of narrowed down a date and worked with a regional trail coordinator to set up a project. So we, in this last one, we met up in Minnesota and joined a crew that had been there already for like a week, building a new 1 mile section of trail. And that crew was a crew through American Hiking Society's volunteer vacations. So it's kind of like a very collaborative event, and it was really awesome to go to. So we did half a day of trail building and then a half a day of trail maintenance. And then the next day we did a group hike with a local chapter. And then it was also just an opportunity for everyone to connect in person, just because it's been a long couple of years through the pandemic, and it's just nice to like be in person and just like hang out and talk about stuff that we like around a campfire. So the annual summit is going to be something that we kind of work together to plan. And then hopefully it works out that we can all get together and do these things. This year it was in May, so I'm thinking that it'll probably be a spring type trip. So kind of wraps up like the first year of participation in the program, but that also is like, that's fluid too. So that's not set in stone. The next way that we can stay connected is an event that the North Country Trail Association hosts every year called the Annual Celebration. So the last few years, again, have been virtual, along with like most other workshops and events. They've all been virtual. So this year, from October 5th to the 9th, they're hosting a annual celebration in Walker, Minnesota. So that is going to be an opportunity where you can network with other people along the trail, to go to skills workshops. I know I'm teaming up with one of the regional trail coordinators to do a leave no trace workshop. Volunteer training. There will be presentations by leaders in the outdoor industry. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Emily Ford. She did a awesome winter through hike of the Ice Age Trail, and she's going to be one of the speakers. Val, do you remember the name of the other speaker, the keynote one? I know she's an Indigenous woman that I can't remember.
Yeah, it'll come to me before the end of the call here.
Yeah. Well, there's more information on the North Country Trail website about that too. So we're kind of I'm working with Val and other NCTA staff to figure out how we can offer you guys like possibly free registration to the event, but I think that's in the works, but I still haven't gotten like a clear understanding of it. Val, do you know?
I'm not sure. If you are interested in going, you know, let us know. I think that we can work with you. You know, if the cost of the event is the thing that's going to prohibit you from coming, you know, let us know and we can work with you. I haven't heard a definitive answer yet. Right. I already see that there's folks willing to carpool. So
yeah.
And the woman's name is Annie Humphrey.
Oh, there we go.
Is our other keynote speaker, and I will put her info in the chat. Very, very cool person.
So just like, another opportunity where we can all meet in person, and then you can also meet other like chapters. Just like a bunch of people are going to be there. I'm assuming it's going to be my first time going to one in person, but I think it will be great. And then I think this might be the last let's stay connected slide, volunteer events. So the North Country Trails has put together this amazing events calendar, and I think I'm going to stop sharing and open that up on my screen here, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But it is a great way to find events along the trail. So bear with me while I try to figure this out. Okay, so you should be able to see the North Country Trail website. If you go to, can you see that? Just making sure. Okay. The events button at the top there, if you click on that, it'll open this up. And this map view, I think my computer's just a little bit slow on loading, but maybe if I close a few things. There we go. So the map view, it shows like where different events are happening along the trail. I think that is such a cool feature because you can see what's happening in other states even. But you can search a bunch of different ways to find events in your area. So say you're in Minnesota and I volunteer for the Border Road Trail Association. I doubt that they'll have anything on here. So that's probably a bad example. So here's one for Minnesota, chainsaw training, and then it's going to give you like all the details on who you can contact to join the event. Let's see. Go back to my slide. But I guess like the long-term goal of the program is to get you guys involved on a chapter level. So showing up for events like that for like local chapters, I think is a great way to network, and bringing your friends is a great way to get more people involved with the trail. But that's not always, there's work days on there, there's group hike days, there's training, all kinds of stuff available on that specific calendar. I'm gonna open this back up. And my last slide, our member resources. So you may have gotten an email earlier this evening that I added you to our shared Google Drive. So there's going to be lots of good resources in there. Kind of keep an eye out. Maybe it went into spam or something. I did create a volunteer hours tracker. So if you're into spreadsheets and you want to track your hours using that, I found it helpful to track it and then report it on like a quarterly basis. But if you also just want to go in after every time you volunteer and submit your hours on the website, you can go that way too. So when you click on that, oh my gosh, I can't use presentations. 3 years of pandemic has not been enough for me to figure out technology. So we've got the volunteer hours tracker, the shared Google Drive. I'm working on a social media toolkit that kind of put on the back burner for a little bit. And then a member handbook, which I will send out to you via email after this. But let's see. I can also pull up a copy of that so that you know what to look out for. So this is new. It's a member handbook. It's got lots of resources and information in it. It's something that I put together through the last year of leading the program. So just some basic information, like the glossary kind of has some definitions of what different things mean, because it's not always common sense. And then we have like, what is the Next Generation Coalition? What are program expectations and benefits of the program? What does the timeline look like? And then just like basic information about like monthly workshops, notable events, and the 4 pillars. And then down at the bottom, I've got some resources. So if you click on this link here, it'll take you to that volunteer hours tracker. I've added you to the Google Drive. We have a recruitment media toolkit that we put together while we were recruiting you guys. And then the social media toolkit is something that I'm working on. Another thing that we're trying to work in this year too is a community agreement. And then I guess that would have been good to go over when we started. And I'll give you, I'm scrolling to this, I'll give you guys a copy of it as well, and a code of conduct. So just making sure that we're creating a safe environment. And if there are things that happen that are uncomfortable or inappropriate, like you can come to us with that information and I guess like trust that we'll find a way to like make it right, I guess. So for this code of conduct though, once you do read through it, there's like a signature line on the bottom. If you could sign that and email it back, it would be super cool. And that's all I have on the handbook. Does anybody have any questions? Because that was a lot of information. All right.
Felicia, I'll just add that I know you all developed sort of the community agreement with the previous cohort, you know, but if folks do have things that, you know, you'd love to see included there that aren't included there, you know, I just encourage people that that's kind of a living document, just because it's, you know, what happened to work for the last group doesn't have to be, you know, 100% what works for you all. So
for sure. Okay. And I did have one more slide here. So it's basically just contact information. So, oh, Lauren, do you have a question? Oh, I think she might be frozen.
Computer is really slow. Am I good now?
You're breaking out a little bit. But I can hear you. So
can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, sorry about that. Is there a time you would like that code of conduct returned to you by? Like read and signed?
I think maybe like within the next month. That way it gives you time to read through it. All right. Okay, so this last slide is just a way that you can contact us, but I also on the shared Google Drive included a spreadsheet with all of our contact information in it. So that includes my email, Val's email. I think I put Kate in there and Nick. So, and then all of your guys's like contact information as well. So if you want to reach out to each other, you have that information there and you can do that. So that is all that I have to share as far as the presentation goes. But if you guys have any questions or you just want to chat about anything, we have like the next 10 minutes just to kind of wrap things up. But I also understand that we just threw a lot of information at you and that can be a little overwhelming. The floor is open, but also, oh, go ahead.
I have one question. I did, I was kind of looking over the agenda for the annual celebration and like everything that's listed there. And I noticed there is a section where it says like, do this activity with the Next Generation Coalition. Is that something like that's already like planned, or like, is that something that's still up in the air?
Yeah, so that hike in particular is on that 1 mile section of trail that we built during the summit.
Oh,
so it's kind of like an invitation. You can join that hike and then network with the Next Gen. And also it's just kind of like a meaningful hike because we were out there working on that and it's kind of cool to revisit it afterwards.
Cool.
So, yeah. Well, I don't want to keep you guys any longer than we have to. So thank you so much for joining us tonight and for being part of the coalition. I'll follow up with some resources via email, including the contact information for your regional trail coordinator. So if you're not already involved with the chapter, which many of you are, there are a few that aren't, that regional trail coordinator is going to be a great resource trying to figure out which chapter is closest to you. So that you do have a place to, I guess, so you have like a resource so you can figure out like which one you would want to become involved with. Your participation in the Next Gen program does offer a 1-year membership for the North Country Trail Association. So I'm also going to make sure that I get your contact information sent over to our membership like coordinator. And if you are already, I think I asked for like your chapter information. If any of that has changed, just let me know. I'm not really sure how we will navigate that if you're already like an up-to-date member, but that's something that we can discuss behind the scenes. So yeah, you'll get a 1-year membership. I'll get you hooked up with your regional trail coordinator if you're not already involved with the chapter. And then I'm gonna get to planning our first workshop so we can meet virtually again. But that's all. Have a good night.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
It's so nice
Felicia.
to meet you.
Thank you. It was nice to meet everybody.
It was nice to meet you guys.
Thank you.